Ghislaine. Ghislaine. Ghislaine? Ghislaine. Like you're beating your meat in traffic. Ghislaine. Like she's a Spanish lady, but she doesn't look very Spanish. I wanted to go look, and it's been about 2 years since I last uploaded, so welcome back, I guess. This is going to be a more serious subject. It's actually something that I'm very interested in, so let's get into it. So, who exactly is Ghislaine Maxwell? Well, according to Wikipedia, she is a socialite, which by definition from Google is a person who's famous for being famous. So she's kind of like Kim Kardashian, but without the sex tape, and she traffics children. Nice. Jokes aside, Ghislaine Maxwell is the well-known and alleged co-conspirator and possible mastermind behind the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking ring. Since the arrest and quote-unquote suicide of Jeffrey Epstein on August 10, 2019, Ghislaine Maxwell's whereabouts has been one of the biggest mysteries regarding the case, leading the worldwide question, where the fuck is she? Nearly a year later, almost exactly a year from when Jeffrey Epstein was taken into custody, Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested on July 2, 2020, being found in a mansion in New Hampshire. During this time, the internet raced to meme, make fun of, and discuss Ghislaine Maxwell's whereabouts as much more. But one really stood out, and that was Ellen Pao, former Reddit CEO. Ellen Pao on Twitter tweeted, "She, Ghislaine Maxwell, was at the Kleiner party in 2011, but I had no desire to meet her, much less have a photo taken with her. We knew about her supplying underage girls for sex, but I guess this was just fine with the cool people who managed the tightly controlled guest list." In this tweet, Ellen Pao outright says that she was aware almost 8 years before Jeffrey Epstein was convicted that Ghislaine Maxwell was partaking in some sort of trafficking to minors. Now, this was just the beginning of the rabbit hole because 2 days later on July 8th, an anonymous user on the 4chan board Poll found what seemed to be Ghislaine Maxwell's Reddit account. So let's dive into it. User MaxwellHill is a super poster on Reddit. This account was the first account to hit 1 million karma in Reddit history and has been around 14 years, almost a full 15 years that Reddit has existed. It's important to note that not only is this a super poster, but this account controls various subreddits such as world news, technology, environment, and many more, acting as a moderator for over 30 million users on the website. Now, we cannot currently confirm that this account belongs to Ghislaine Maxwell, but while we can, let's go and review all the evidence that points toward the signs that it may just be Ghislaine Maxwell's Reddit account. Now, the first argument is probably the weakest, which is MaxwellHill resembles a lot of Ghislaine Maxwell's last name. Now, a lot of people would go, that makes no sense. Why would someone put their last name in their Reddit account when they're trying to conserve anonymity? Well, it's important to note that this was in 2006, and this was still a very early time, not only on the Reddit website, but on the entire internet as a whole, as social media was still developing. Now, the second thing we're going to look at is the gaps in posting of the account. As such a frequent user as MaxwellHill, there has been very notable pauses in time where they did not post. And I think it is extremely important to point out that the account has not posted at all since the arrest of Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, let's look at the date of the Kleiner party that Ellen Pao reportedly saw Ghislaine Maxwell and knew of her activities. And if you look at the posting between Ghislaine Maxwell's supposed Reddit account, you can see that there was no posting between December 7th and December 10th, 2011, and that the Kleiner party took place on December 9th, 2011. Now, I know someone would go, why does it matter that the account took breaks? Everyone takes breaks from social media. That is on point. Why would this account that is consistently posting every single day take a break on certain gaps of time? With the first one being the Kleiner party and the second one being the day that Ghislaine Maxwell's mother passed away. Which, let's take a look at that. The second gap in time that really stands out for the MaxwellHill account is going to be the posting between August 6th and August 9th, 2013, where nothing occurred. Now, I know that that this doesn't seem significant, but it's important to note that this is literally the same time gap that Elizabeth Maxwell, Maxwell's mother, passed away, which was August 7th, which is dead smack in the middle between this gap in time. Now, while we're on the topic of dates, let's just address one more thing that I found interesting. User MaxwellHill claims to be born in December and says that winter does not start until December 21st, saying that their birthday is after winter. Now, it's important if you look at the Wikipedia of Ghislaine Maxwell that her birthday is on December 25th. Again, this could just be nothing, but I just found it interesting and wanted to include it in the video. The third date I'm going to touch, but I'm not going to go too deep into just because it's a bit disturbing. Madeleine McCann was a little girl who went missing, and around the same time that she went missing, the user MaxwellHill stopped posting for almost 3 to about 4 weeks' time. Now, I know that this doesn't seem significant because there are a lot of coincidences in life, but if you look at the description of the suspect regarding the Madeleine McCann case, it looks a lot like Ghislaine Maxwell, which is pretty fucking spooky. Last but not least, I just wanted to dive into the ventures of Ghislaine Maxwell and how it lines up with some of the suspected moderation and posts included in the MaxwellHill account. Ghislaine Maxwell was a very pro-environmental focused individual. She actually went on to go and found an organization called the Terramar Project, which was a non-profit focused on preventing and reversing the pollution of the oceans and overall just protecting the oceans from pollution. She even went on to address the United Nations about her non-profit organization, but that's besides the point. User MaxwellHill was a moderator of the subreddit environment, which I found pretty interesting because it consistently posted articles regarding ocean protection, which honestly you could write off as just someone caring about the environment. That's broad. I also found it interesting that the account never once posted about the Jeffrey Epstein case, considering the account was not only a moderator, but a super poster on Reddit accumulating 14 million points. It would consistently post articles when they first released about big hot topics such as Donald Trump, but never once did it mention Jeffrey Epstein, which I found interesting because such an account would jump on that opportunity to get those internet points and boost its link karma. The MaxwellHill account also makes some posts referencing pedophilia and even talking about the age of consent and asking about the age of consent all across America, state by state. I will put some of these in the section below just so people can look, but I'm not going to go all the way into that. But the one thing that I do want to address is the arguments that this is not Ghislaine Maxwell's account, which the biggest argument being that the account was interviewed as being the Redditor of the day for reaching 1 million link karma in Reddit history. And during this interview, the interviewer asked the person how old they are and what their sex is, in which the MaxwellHill account goes outright and says that they are 40 and that they are a male. And I would like to say that if someone was trying to keep their identity at least a little low-key, they wouldn't outright put it out there and they would throw some red herrings in there. Again, none of this could be verified, it's all speculation, but I do want to point out some arguments that people are using against this. Now, during the time making this video, Vice created an article that was pretty much trying to debunk this entire conspiracy theory. Again, I just want to say it's that a theory, but the evidence supporting their debunking is kind of weak, and it's really just a screenshot of MaxwellHill and another moderator, which again, all these could be forged, and even if there is a post from the MaxwellHill account, it's important to note that Reddit admins can edit comments and even post from others' accounts, but that's besides the point. I also wanted to point out that the MaxwellHill account has the most submissions for any website through its link karma through Vice.com at 130. Now, I could go a lot deeper into this, but I'm just trying to keep it shallow with depth because a lot of it's just continuing on. I just wanted to throw a couple main points out there and things that I found interesting. But let's just go over the 3 biggest takeaways. 1. If Ghislaine Maxwell's account was actually the MaxwellHill account and was consistently posted by Ghislaine Maxwell, it would cause just a slew of problems and controversy, such as we see now with this set conspiracy. We would not only see into Ghislaine Maxwell's views, but her virtual life and everything that she operated on the Reddit platform. 2, that if it was an account that is owned by Ghislaine Maxwell, it creates a slew of controversy for Reddit. Reddit has been consistently banning subreddits, tightening its guidelines, banning individuals, privating subreddits, just to try and make it a safe platform. And there's a lot of debate going on about this, and a lot of it kind of points to them just trying to make it a more profitable and safe company. And third but not least, even if all this is just a bunch of shenanigans, it's a witch hunt, it's hysteria, there's no true meaning behind this all. It is important to look at Ellen Powell's tweet, in which she implicates herself, saying that in 2011, she knew that Ghislaine Maxwell was handling children. She was trafficking them. She knew that Ghislaine Maxwell was actively doing this, and so did everyone else. It starts to create this kind of thought that maybe it is a regular thing. Maybe it is more common than we believe. And the fact that she knew and others knew and they did not do anything to try and actually interfere with the situation is just disgusting. So I know that I didn't go too deep into it, and that's just because, like I said, I want to do a shallow take on it. I want to get some evidence, debunk it a little bit, everything that's out to play right now that is kind of verifiable. Furthermore, I'm going to put down the link to things debunking it, arguing against it, and I'll also present some of the argument threads that I read below, just so that way you can create your own opinion. But all in all, I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to give it time to develop because it's a developing story, not just for Ghislaine Maxwell being in jail, but the whole conspiracy regarding this account. So thank you so much for watching, and stay vigilant. Ghislaine. Like you're beating your meat in traffic.